Alright guys, it's finally here, baby's first full-blown tutorial. We're gonna start off with a bang. Here's my overview tutorial on making manga. If you've never tried or you're just toying with the idea of making one, this video is made with the intent to help with getting started on making your own story. I recommend to a lot of my viewers that have shown an interest in working on their own manga to use it as a tool to gauge personal art growth, as its creation promotes repetitive practice and a lot of the times requires you to go out of your comfort zone as an artist. This isn't for everyone, but if you're interested, it can be a really fun way to get your ideas out there in a dynamic way. To start, come up with a story or just an idea, and then think about the characters in the story and what your setting might be for your characters to exist in. Is it an alien high school student? Or a love-struck magical girl that's always late for band practice? It can be just whatever you would have fun working on. It's a good idea to have an art style you're aiming for before you begin, but it doesn't mean absolutely every chapter should be super consistent. I actually encourage you guys to try and branch out and experiment when you're making manga, since it's the perfect chance to show your improvement over the course of chapters. You'll have to do a ton of repetitive drawing of the same characters as well as different scenes, so the growth will begin to become obvious to you and your readers. I would begin by writing an outline or a script with actions included. For example, I have in my outline for a particular page, panel 1. Sophia has her arms crossed and is looking angrily at EiyuuZ as she speaks. This gives you an idea of how the character is posing in the scene. Next, I'll write the character's name who is speaking in the panel and what they're saying per bubble I'm placing in the scene. Depending on how you want your bubbles to be laid out in your particular manga, space out your dialogue accordingly. Storyboard! Don't go hard on it with the art. This is a skeleton of what the chapters and pages will look like. It won't be pretty, but use it as a tool to quickly jot down pages. Plan out how many panels you'll need to fit per page. Storyboarding and planning panels requires a lot of practice and referencing. I'm still not the best at it, but I can tell you what I know for sure. With more practice and the more you study it, the better you'll get at it. Currently, I reference a lot of JoJo, Berserk, Dragon Ball Z, and a few others to see how each manga does their paneling. There isn't really a right or wrong way to make your panels. If you really like dynamic diagonal ones like JoJo, use them. If you prefer more boxy style and traditional like Berserk or Dragon Ball Z, use those. You've got to feel out what works best and is the most appealing to you. For example, what's going to happen on the page? Where is this taking place? Who is going to be featured on this page? How will it contribute to the overall chapter and flow? Say that you want it to be a dramatic scene. Take the first page of the 5th chapter of my manga, Desolate Children of Gaia here for example. Let's break it down. Think of it like you're a movie director and your panels are the different camera angles that you want to display your characters in. Who is standing in the panels? Where are they placed? What angle is the camera pointing at them? This page has 2 characters conversing, EiyuuZ and Sophia. Overall, we have 7 panels on the page. In the prior chapter, EiyuuZ lost a battle to Sophia, and at the start of this chapter is a continuation which shows his reaction to losing. We start the page with his first reaction. How? How could I lose? Next, we've got our main heroine, Sophia. She's reacting to his statement and is already a little bit of a feel at this point of what his personality is. What we're doing here is showing a cause and effect, or a conversation. He says something to her actions from the previous chapter. She responds. We created 3 panels of different expressions to show his reaction to his loss. We wanted a dramatic yet somewhat humorous way, which was like him going through the stages of grief. I plan entirely with 3D models in Clip Studio Paint, so I recommend if you're not fast at scribbling it down, then use the models. They're an extremely valuable tool and will keep confusion out of the equation when coming down to posing and framing for paneling. Also, the models can make it easier for you to repose a scene if you change your mind about the camera angles, pose, etc. During this step, I also include where I'm going to put the bubbling and how I'm going to space the dialogue as well. Sometimes we have dialogue exactly planned for each panel, but we always give ourselves room for possible editing. My workflow consists of our writer coming up with an outline document of what's going to happen in the chapter. Next, we sit down and storyboard a few pages at a time. I find that working on a few page segments at a time is a more comfortable workflow for myself, but do as few or as many pages as you feel comfortable with. We storyboard the first 3 to 6 pages, and then I sketch them, line them, and shade them. For characters that have lots of accessories such as arrows, I tend to make assets to speed up my workflow. He has an ankh on his chest piece and a few hair pieces. I've made a prior illustration for each piece and reuse them when I can. It's very handy and you can do it for just about anything. I'll make a video on asset creation in the future if you guys would like me to elaborate more on that topic. I leave almost all backgrounds and effects for the very end once all the characters are in place and on the page. After I completely finish or make a good amount of progress on them, we come back together and look over the pages and see if any major edits or adjustments are needed. Then the process repeats a few times. I get some pages, finish them, and then grab another batch until we've finished the chapter. Either after the chapter is finished or I have a solid idea already, I come up with the front title page and a colored page I add to each chapter. The colored page is never required, but I do it for fun. Soon we plan on adding a little 4-koma manga at the end of some chapters as a funny little extra. A lot of the tips I've given are very subjective and will really depend on what genre and style of manga you're going for. I mentioned that I used manga like JoJo or Dragon Ball Z for reference, but if you're making something like a romance or a slice of life, look to your favorite manga of those styles for inspiration and reference. I hope you guys enjoyed the first video of the manga tutorial series. I can't wait to make some more in the future! Be sure to subscribe and leave a like, and comment down below what kinds of tutorials or content you'd like to see in the future. I have links in the description to my social media, including my Twitch, and where to read my manga. I'll see you guys later!